Shit. Hey folks, welcome back to another week. This time I'm going to be talking a little bit about different practice techniques and I guess stuff that's not so much a technical exercise on the banjo as it is kind of the philosophy that I've developed when I practice and how I might get the most out of my practice and adjusting expectations for what it can yield out of the time that you have. Because life is busy and it gets busier, and that time just seems to go faster and faster every year. So I'm going to be talking a little bit more today. So yeah, let's just jump right into that, huh? So I think number one thing that I hear a lot of, particularly beginner players, talk about when they pick up the banjo is they talk about, they say that they're going to practice for like an hour or a couple hours a day. And I love the gusto when I hear that, but I also have played this long enough to know that is hard to sustain. Goal setting for yourself, set those goals very realistically, and I don't mean that in a discouraging way. I mean, if you're starting... Sorry about that. Thought I had a visitor at the door. Yeah. Anyway, set those goals very realistically, and what I mean by that is instead of saying that you're gonna jump right into like an hour a day even of practice, make it 10 minutes. Make it 5 minutes, frankly. Maybe make your goal that you pick up the banjo at least once a day, and how you can make yourself successful in that is by not putting your banjo in its case. Get a wall hanger. I know there's a lot of mixed reviews on floor stands for banjos. I've definitely had a few of those fail on me, and do your research on that. But get something to where you don't have your banjo in the case every day. That's going to encourage you every time you walk by. You're going to be thinking about it. You might even just pick it up for a few notes, but your mind is on it, and that's the part that counts. A little bit more of a practical side. When you are practicing something, what I try to tell people when they're having difficulty putting everything together is isolate one hand. And usually, well, every time, isolate the right hand first. What I mean there is, if I'm trying to learn this tag lick, there's a lot going on in that. And if I'm trying to do that all at once, I'm not saying that it's, impossible. Anybody can do this, right? But it's easier to break it up into two separate actions. So instead of trying to play the right and the left hand together, if I'm not getting that, I might just do the right hand. Repeat those sections. Do it as slow as you need to. And then once you feel comfortable with that right hand, that's when you bring in the left hand, right? And then you can start hashing out the details with the left hand. What fingers am I using for the left hand? What are the subtleties in this? In this lick, certainly there are a few subtleties, right? This sounds very different than... There's little things in the left hand and the right hand that deserve their own attention. So the next time you're having trouble with a passage, try breaking up those two hand rolls. Start with the right, figure that one out, and then add in the left before you move on. When you do have a difficult section of a song, don't practice the entire song. So if there's one thing in like ground speed or something that's tripping you up, and you have the rest of it down, don't play from the beginning of ground speed unless that's the part that you're actually having trouble with. You don't need to play all of those parts. In fact, you're going to get more out of your time if you're practicing those parts that you suck at. So if it's the B part that you're having difficulties with, that's all you're going to practice, right? You don't need to practice over and over again the rest of the song. You want to get as many repetitions as possible on that difficult part. It's going to feel frustrating, but you're going to get those results that you're looking for. Nobody ever wants to do this as well. It's not fun up until you get a sense of masochism with it, which will come with time. You're already choosing to learn the banjo. There's a sense of masochism in there somewhere. You just haven't honed it fully yet. Practicing with a metronome. Very important. Every teacher's going to say it. Everybody is going to agree that it's very important, and very few people are going to actually do that. Obviously, it's way more fun to play in a playing situation. There are different ways to practice musically with a metronome. You can have just a plain clicking metronome. There are also different apps. If you haven't heard of iRealB, that's a great resource where you can put in, there's actually pre-made books of all sorts of books. They're, compendiums of fiddle tunes and songs, and it plays the chords. It actually plays chord and bass line, and there is rhythm in there, so it keeps you honest. It gets you honed in with what a good right hand sounds like. And at the same time, it's a little bit more fun than just practicing to a click. So I totally get that. Check those out if you're having trouble with that. Let's see. What else? Yeah, I guess the last thing I'll say here before I sign off is it's easy, especially in bluegrass music, to compare yourself to other players, right? We're all playing from the same tradition, largely. We all have our different people that we look up to and players that we want to emulate more than others, right? But ultimately, we're playing the same repertoire. We're coming ultimately from the same spot. If you're playing this style of banjo, chances are you're trying to emulate Earl Scruggs on some level. It's easy to compare your progress with somebody else. You might see somebody younger than you that can play more proficiently, can play faster, can play cleaner. And that is a key to unhappiness. There's a key to, it's the subscription to Pain magazine that you don't want. The only way that you lose at music is by not enjoying your time doing it. So anything that you can do to minimize that and maximize the amount of joy that you're getting out of your time playing is ultimately going to keep you in the game longer. You're going to progress more. You're going to see all of those things are the side effects of enjoying your time playing whatever it is you're playing. So when you're practicing things, practice things that you like. Practice tunes that you like. We all have to learn a few that we don't really like. I personally don't like St. Anne's Reel, but I have to, spend some time on it. But when I sit down and practice, I'm not usually choosing the tunes that I don't want to play, right? Play what you like, and it's going to bring out more of the good stuff that you have to offer. Okay, hopefully some of this made sense. I'll clip this all together, and I'm sure I'll have some kind of logical thread through it. But that being said, thank you guys for sitting through a more talky video. And if you like this, I do have plenty of other videos where I don't jabber on as much. So thanks for checking this out. If you like what I do here, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Remember to hit the bell icon so that whenever I have new stuff out, you'll be first to know. And yeah, just appreciate you guys. Thank you.